Hey, Zach,
Hey, Alex.
and welcome everyone to the Pokemon
Pokemon
Power
Power
Podcast.
Podcast.
Hi, Zach. How are you?
I wanted you to know that I closed my eyes so I could sing, but I would be like really listening to you sing because that's how much I love every time. I mean, that's like, I would set it as my alarm when I wake up. You saying, just singing the song and then singing our jingle. I mean, what better way to wake up in the morning?
Well, if you're just waking up, let me hit you with that jingle, baby. Like them, subscribe them, and follow them. Leave a review where you don't yell. Pokemon Power Podcast. Zach, do you want to sing it?
Love it. I don't think I couldn't do it justice. I couldn't honor it the way it deserves to be honored.
Well, I will take that as a compliment and not as manipulation.
No, I really do love it. And I can't wait till someone may or may not remix it so you don't have to sing it every week.
Well, we'll see. And if you're a fan, I have a friend of mine who's working on it, but he told me he's going to take his sweet time. So if you're a fan and you know how to edit anything, if you want to put that to the tune of like Gangster's Paradise or something, feel free to do that. Send it in and I'll play that. Uh, been liking most of my lives to subscribe and follow. Okay, never mind. This is apology time. Real quick. Last episode, we forgot who played Chunk, who does the Truffle Shuffle.
Mm.
It is the actor Jeff Cohen, who is now a lawyer.
I remember something about that on some like list that I get sent by like
Like
Buzz.
Watch Mojo or
Yeah,
something like
Watch
that.
Mojo, Buzz movies or something.
Right.
And it's like you won't believe that this person has just a regular job and they do a good job at their job.
I was listening to a podcast. Never mind. What am I talking about? Who cares about on a podcast, someone telling you about a podcast? I might as well tell you a dream I had.
Yeah.
Zach, real quick,
Mhm.
pick a number 1 through 3.
Oh gosh. One. Now I can actually remember what's about to happen to me. One.
Well, Zach, you don't think I can do an accent, so here's my accents. You said one. For the listener at home, the three options today were a dog, a cat, and a monkey. Zach picked one, so that's a dog. Woof, woof, woof.
Oh, I love that. That's
Oh!
oh no.
Zach, one time I was hanging out with a friend in high school, and he told me that he had a crush on a girl when he was a kid, and he didn't know how to act, so he did what he saw in cartoons, and he just started howling at her like a wolf.
No.
By the way, we've just made this, the intro to this podcast is impenetrable. Like, who would, if you haven't heard this before, the first things we do is I sing 2 songs, then I tell you that Chunk was played by Jeff Cohen. Then I bark like a dog. And now you're going to ask a question which may or may not have anything to do with Pokemon. So I'm sure we're gaining new listeners by the dozen.
They hop on and like, oh, okay, I see the description is okay, talking about Pokemon. Are gonna
Cool.
all right, cool. And 4 minutes in, they haven't talked about Pokemon once, except for just saying that they're not talking about it.
Well, Zach, I'm certain that means that your icebreaker today has to be about Pokemon. What's your icebreaker, buddy?
Oh my goodness. So here's I, oh man, I'm really sorry about this. So it does, in a way, it has to do it. So for the listeners, Alex and I went to college together. We're friends. We're not just coworkers on this podcast. We're friends, and after college, everyone kind of goes off and is doing separate things. But over the last, I think, couple of years, how long has that chat been going on now?
Oh, we're in a group chat together. Since I lived in Spokane, which would have been almost, I guess, about 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, So like 3 years ago, we kind of all reconnected over a list of video games. Wasn't that like the thing that started it?
It was a Polygon list, I believe, of the top 500 games of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like
Tetris was number 1.
Oh gosh, don't bring up Tetris. This isn't the Tetris podcast. So Anyway, but I don't know everything about Alex, and I feel like probably we've talked about some of those things back when we were in college, but I notoriously have a terrible memory. And so
Mhm.
some of what I think is enjoyable and icebreaker is just learning little things about each other. And
Okay.
so one of those things will be a Pokemon thing. But the other things will not be. But
Okay.
just some quick fire. We'll respond back and forth on it. So first off is, what's your favorite fast food restaurant?
You know what? I'm a big fan of fried chicken, and
Mhm.
I'll go get fried chicken all the time. But I guess you said quick fire. I'm gonna go Taco Bell.
Okay. Okay.
What
No,
about
no, no.
yourself?
I accept that. Taco Bell's a top for me, but what I probably go most regularly all the time is gonna be Chick-fil-A. I mean,
Okay.
it's just solid. I know what I'm gonna get. Go to Chick-fil-A. So that I'd probably say it's favorite.
Okay.
And then what about this? Other than being on this podcast, what's something that you do for fun?
I love to spend time with my wife and kids.
Classic.
Um,
And then right after that one, what's that? What else?
uh, I mean, I do like playing Switch. I like going for walks. So that is something that I find generally enjoyable, brings me ease, calms me down. Um, I like I mean, generally, I think one of the reasons why I'm drawn to doing a podcast is I do love sitting and listening to podcasts. I have lots of favorites, none of which I can recommend because none of them fit the criteria of this show.
Hmm,
Family friendly. I'm not like
that's
I'm
true.
listening to like graphic horror or anything like that. I don't know. The
I mean,
less
like
said, the
half the
better. I
ones that
get
I enjoy listening to are like How to Catch a Murderer, or like it's like this is the story of this serial killer, and you're like,
my
this
yeah.
is interesting. I can't recommend this to people, but I mean, it's interesting.
Right. My wife was listening to Dirty John, I believe is the name of the podcast, and
That's a crazy story.
she's like, I finished it, and I was like, how dirty was he? And apparently the answer is very.
He is a mess. He
What
is
about
a
yourself?
mess.
What do you do for fun, buddy?
I right now I've become like a super old man, and pretty much with my extra time, and it actually is fun because I feel like I'm accomplishing something, is like house projects. And that's I couldn't have imagined a world where that's a thing that I'm answering.
We're definitely two 30-year-old men. When you said, what do we do for fun? And I said, go for walks. And you said, chores around the house.
No,
Uh,
not just chores. House, like, so like like fixing our back patio to be
mhm.
the way that we want, or like in here, what's like happening in the background of this room, like getting our like garage to be a nice space. Like that's
Mhm.
actually fun for me, which I couldn't have imagined a world.
Yeah.
But like right after that, still like video games and things like
Yeah.
that. But I actually like in Southern California, we've been out here for going on 7 years, 6.5 years. And so like going to the beach, seeing like the ocean, just seeing it every day, even just like sitting on the beach is big. And I've been trying to learn that thing. It doesn't go well, but
That thing, for the listeners, Zach was pointing at a surfboard.
just
If
trying to
you
learn
want to
that.
get Instagram jelly, follow Zach on Instagram. He's always posting pictures of him at the beach. He's like, my life's
Mhm.
perfect, better than yours. Hashtag feel bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Hashtag I'm number one.
I got to start using those
Hashtag like
hashtags. Those are great.
it's all just you. And you
Uh,
said you had one more about Pokemon?
yeah. One final Pokemon is just, and I feel like I do know this answer personally, but well, maybe I don't. Your top Pokemon. What's your favorite
Oh, you
right now?
can't do this, Zach.
What?
Because
You can't?
it'll spoil the show.
What if you say just your favorite?
I can't say my favorite. I refuse.
Oh
It'll
wow! I didn't
spoil
know
the
you could
show
say
for
that.
us.
I didn't know you. I didn't know, and I'm so sorry to say that. I thought it was just gonna be like fun. It's like this is a Pokemon you really like.
I like Pokemon, Zach. It's like Trump's favorite passage of scripture. It's all good.
Yeah, that's a great book. Super great. All right, fine. Well, this comes out after the election. Who did you vote for? Just kidding. All right,
Zach,
we should
and
probably
sorry,
continue.
I have a brief aside because you brought it up. I at the time of the last election when it was Clinton versus Trump, everyone, and we've talked about this privately, but everyone was like projecting Clinton was going to win. At the time, I had the thought to do a podcast with a friend of mine, and it was full of me and him making jokes about the episodes we're going to release in the future, and we're like, oh, well, I mean, Clinton's going to win. Everyone's projecting it. So we made a bunch of jokes about how Trump was going to be president. And then sure enough, he won. So it's just like,
I know.
these jokes. And it's like, thinking like, oh, wouldn't this be funny if he won? No, he did win. So it's like,
Yeah. I think
but,
it's predicting is interesting. This is in the future, and I can't wait to see what the world is like in mid to late November.
can't believe Joe Jorgensen won. All right. Joe Jorgensen with our VP, Kanye West. By the way, for our international crowd, Zach and I live in America, and it is the hellscape that it sounds like. All right. We're going to move on to our next segment. Gotta elucidate them all. This is the segment of the show where Zach is going to guess, or I can not guess. He's going to describe the Pokemon that we're talking about today. Zach doesn't know which Pokemon we're talking about, but he's going to describe it to the best of his ability without using the name of the Pokemon or the name of any other Pokemon. He's just going to use descriptions. And if you're listening, you can play at home. Try and guess which Pokemon Zach is describing. Zach, are you ready, my good man?
Let's do this.
All right, I'm going to bring him up on the screen. It is my duty to pull this Pokemon up. That's an extra accent just for you. That's Tommy Lee Jones.
I'm so glad you told me that.
This country ain't for no old men. All right. All right, I'm going to bring up the Pokemon.
Go for it.
And here's the timer.
Oh, man, this is great. So what we've got here, it looks like something that has like an exoskeleton, like an alien. I mean, we've got some bony looking feet, there's yellow. There's kind of pincer, 3 toes, 2 forward, 1 back, like a velociraptor. You got 2 arms. You got a face that looks like a mouse with big old whiskers, and then you have a giant tail. I don't know any animal that has a tail that's like this big, huge piece of flesh tail.
That's time.
Oh, and I forgot to mention the most important little thing that's holding a spoon.
You can say he says he's holding a spoon. So Zach, you may have been the hint the listener needed. Who's that Pokemon?
So I think it's I could look at the actual words that say on the screen, but I'm not going to. I feel like this one is Kadabra.
This is Kadabra. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
Abra, Kadabra, Alakazam.
Yeah.
You ever watch Dragon Ball Z, Zach?
Some. Yeah. Back in the day.
In Dragon Ball Z, there was Bibbidi.
Yeah.
And she helped with Boo. Mm-hmm. And then she died. I think Boo killed her. Mm-hmm. And then she had, I'm saying she, I think it was just voiced by a female. I think it may have been a man. Then there was Bobbidi. Mm-hmm. And they're also working with Boo. And then Boo. Bibbidi, Bobbidi, Boo. Abra, Kadabra, Alakazam. This whole show could just be me saying little magic phrases.
Yeah. I love it. It's good sounds.
Well, thank you. It is...
What title of the episode?
What's the name of the episode?
Good sounds or bibbidi boppity?
Boop boopy. Shooby dooby doo. What do you think of Kadabra, Zach?
I think it's strong. It's cool. I always thought that they were the cool ones. Abra was always hard to get, and wanting to get Alakazam was a top part of my game. I love psychic Pokemon. Mm-hmm. I think they wreck, and it's powerful. And I think even Kadabra, even if you didn't like, because you had to trade them to get Alakazam, right?
Yes, that is correct.
But even just with Kadabra, man, you level that bad boy up using psychic, just super cool dude.
He is a cool dude. You'd introduce him to mom and dad. Very cool. But I wanted to talk about, he is a second form, which means, Zach, for the second time in the second week in a row, we're going to be doing a new segment, Second Form or Skip. Yeah. I am the firm believer that most of the second forms of 3-form Pokemon are unnecessary and frankly unwanted. And much like most people's time in middle school, I think it would be better off skipped. During this segment, Zach and I will decide whether the second form is worthy or if the Pokemon Company should have just skipped them. We'll do this by reviewing 3 criteria. Number 1, does it have unique moves or types? Number 2, any unique, interesting Pokédex entries? Number 3, does it have a good, unique design? Zach,
I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you to tell me those 3 things, and I'll make my decision. I think last time I was there trying to think as you were saying them. I want you to go through, tell me what those 3 things are, because I feel like in my heart I'm leaning one way, and so I want you to change my mind.
All right, I'm going to try and change your mind wherever you're at. Number 1, we were talking about, does it have any unique moves or type? Well, I will say Kadabra has the same type as Abra and Alakazam, and it has all the same moves as Alakazam, but many more moves than Abra. Do you know the only move Abra has, Zach?
Just teleport, right?
Teleport. It's the only thing it will ever learn. I mean, I think you may be able to teach it some moves, but naturally that'll be the only thing it learns.
It's crazy.
When you evolve into Kadabra, big jump.
Yeah.
Now Alakazam knows a lot of those. It knows all the same moves as Kadabra, and is just generally stronger. So it doesn't have too much there. But let's talk about some of these Pokedex entries. Some interesting things in the Pokedex. This is in yellow, unique to Kadabra. Many odd things happen if this Pokemon is close by. For example, it makes clocks run backwards. What do you think of that, Zach? Backwards running clocks.
I mean, it's terrifying. No, it's not. I mean, it would be definitely something you go, huh, that's weird. And then if it had the right music behind you in a horror movie, you'd think this is foreboding. But I mean, you're not going crazy about it. You probably just think the clocks are broken.
And still be right twice a day. Actually, more often if it was running backwards, I guess probably 4 times. Anyway, I don't know if that math is right. We'll see later if that adds up. But I apologize for it next week. Diamond. If one is nearby, this one's insane. If one is nearby, meaning a Kadabra, an eerie shadow appears on the TV screen. Seeing the shadow is said to bring bad luck.
Wow, so that's like that is horror movie level scariness.
Yes.
Like, okay. Definitely creepy. So
definitely creepy. But you know what? I think you want a little creepiness here. You know, Kadabra, Abra, Alakazam. That's magic, and that's from the devil.
Oh, that's so true. Thank you for bringing that up. I needed to be reminded of that, so I appreciate that. That's true.
I will say, I mean, it does have creepy stuff associated with it. And I think just that generally, I mean, like that's straight out of, what is it? The Grudge? Is The Grudge the person who comes out of the TV?
I was trying to think of what it was. I think that's correct.
I think The Ring also, they come out of the TV.
The Ring is one that I was actually thinking of. So, yeah.
And then I believe also in the oh my gosh. Paranormal? What's the one I'm
Paranormal Activity?
No. What's the one that
Paranorman.
Spielberg directed?
Paranorman. Yes, that is it. That one I know.
TV in that one. I do like Paranorman. I like everything.
Monster House.
I like that one too. Fire Red. It happened. These ones, Zach, these Pokedex entries were driving me insane. They were absolutely bonkers. Fire Red. I'm reading this verbatim. It happened one morning. A boy with extrasensory powers awoke in bed, transformed into Kadabra.
I'm sorry, what?
A child just woke up one day and had turned into a Kadabra.
So that thing that I just looked at is possibly a human boy.
I think there's just this one kid that turned into a Kadabra. But yeah, I guess that one could have been a kid.
Okay. That's creepy. I mean, it's hitting the level. It's the classic, is this really a children's game level of weird things that are going on in this world. So, okay.
Zach, if you woke up one day and you were a Pokemon, you pumped, you sad, how you feeling?
Can I only say like my name?
Yeah, you can only say Boyer. Zach.
I'm not excited about that. I think I'd feel frustrated. But I don't know. Detective Pikachu makes it seem pretty awesome to be a Pikachu. So,
yeah. You think Ryan Reynolds, as soon as he's like, I don't want to spoil the end of the movie. Spoiler alert for Detective Pikachu. You think at the end of that movie when Ryan Reynolds is like, I'm a dad again. I wish I was a Pikachu. Worry free. Sure. Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about the way that Kadabra looks real quick. Yeah. Something that differentiates him from Alakazam, he has 3 red jagged lines on his abdomen. He has a red star on their forehead and a large tail, which is completely absent once he evolves into Alakazam.
Yeah.
I think that's a big difference. Yeah. I mean, look at this. I do think there's clear similarities here between Kadabra and Alakazam, and you do see it with Abra too. I mean, they got like the brown shoulder pads. They got all this stuff going on, but I
Yeah.
do think there's a nice progression there. There's nice differences, and especially the red star and like kind of the lightning bolts on Kadabra's tummy and the big tail. I mean, they're all pretty different.
Yeah. There's definitely a body difference. I'll agree with that.
So with that in mind, Zach, those are kind of the three we talked about. Not much in the difference of moves or type. More moves than Abra for sure. Some weird Pokedex entries and some difference in the appearance. Where are you at? Do you think we should keep? Do you think it was worth having this in-between step, or do you think you should just jump straight over to Alakazam?
The problem is, the more I think about this segment, the more I think I've only ever wanted the third evolution of any Pokemon. I've only ever wanted the third evolution.
Yes.
So, and it definitely goes for Alakazam. And I think that they could have just named him Abracadabra and Alakazam. Two Pokemon.
I think that's fair. I will say this. I think that Kadabra is a good second form. I think that it's hard, sometimes it's hard to find a buddy to trade with. It's hard to find a trustworthy buddy that's going to trade you back that Alakazam. They may just run off the moment they get that from you.
Just unplug the cord right away.
See you never. But I think it can be hard to do that trade. And I think if you get to a Kadabra, there's a lot to feel good about there. That's a strong Pokemon, has all the same moves as Alakazam. It's just not on that same power level and has all these weird things associated with it. I think that's pretty cool. I would say that this is a second form that we can keep, not skip. So I'm into Kadabra. Yeah. But Zach, we're going into a segment that we're doing for the first time.
Here we go.
Zach, this segment makes me nervous.
Uh-oh.
But we have to dive into it. We owe it to our fans. We owe it to the history of Pokemon. Zach, we have to dive into Poke controversy.
Oh, no.
Sometimes this delightful kids game steps. What the heck was I trying to write there? Sometimes this delightful kids game makes some big unintentional waves.
Okay.
Upsetting people of different faiths, races, and sexes. We're here today not to judge the controversy, but just to figure out exactly what occurred. Any guess what the controversy might be with Kadabra?
I mean, other than him assuming the body of a young boy, I am at a loss.
That is not the controversy associated with him. All right, Zach, I'm going to advise you at the beginning of this. We may need to call Jeff Cohen because this is something that got them into a lawsuit.
Uh-oh.
In this case, the offended was a man named Uri Geller, who claims to have psychic abilities. Everything I will read for the next couple minutes here are going to be directly from Uri Geller's Wikipedia page because I fear a lawsuit. So I'm just reading what Wikipedia states as the facts of the situation.
Okay.
In November 2000, Geller sued video game company Nintendo for 60 million euros over the Pokemon species Younger, localized in English as Kadabra, which he claimed was an unauthorized appropriation of his identity. The Pokemon in question has psychic abilities and carries a bent spoon. Geller also claimed that the star on Kadabra's forehead and the lightning pattern on its abdomen are symbolism popular with the Waffen SS of Nazi Germany. The katakana, which is the Japanese character, for the character's name is visually similar to the transliteration of Geller's own name into Japanese. He is quoted as saying, "Nintendo turned me into an evil, occult Pokemon character. Nintendo stole my identity by using my name and my signature image." Pokemon anime director and storyboard artist Masamitsu Hidaka confirmed in an interview that Kadabra would not be used on a Pokemon trading card until an agreement was reached on the case. As of 2020, the agreement has not been reached, and the last Kadabra card released was in Skyridge e-reader set, which was 2002 to 2003. He doesn't say this either, but Kadabra has also been absent from the anime since around that same time. Here's a couple other facts about Uri Geller from his Wikipedia page. Michael Jackson was the best man when Geller renewed his wedding vows in 2001. In 1997, he tried to help the second division football club, Exeter City, win a crucial end-of-season game by placing energy-infused crystals behind the goal at Exeter's grounds. Exeter lost by 5-1. In 1973, Geller appeared on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, and this appearance is recounted in the Nova documentary James Randi, Secrets of the Psychic. So this is from a documentary. In the documentary, James Randi says Johnny had been a magician himself and was skeptical of Geller's claimed paranormal powers. So prior to the date of taping, Randi was asked to help prevent any trickery. Per Randi's advice, the show prepared their own props without informing Geller and did not let Geller or his staff anywhere near them. When Geller joined Carson on stage, he appeared surprised that he was not going to be interviewed, but instead was expected to display his abilities using the provided articles. Geller said, "This scares me. And as you know, I told your people what to bring. And I'm surprised because before this program, your producer came and he read me at least 40 questions you were going to ask me." Geller was unable to display any paranormal abilities, saying, "I don't feel strong." And he expressed his displeasure at feeling like he was being pressed into performing by Carson. So, Zach, I'll give you a second if you want to say anything. But I just have one final thing I'd like to say on this. Geller has filed several lawsuits in the past, so I'm not going to disparage him on this show. And furthermore, Pokemon is one of the biggest intellectual properties in the whole wide world. It is the biggest intellectual property in the whole world. It certainly doesn't need people like me and Zach defending them. So let me instead make a statement that is completely unrelated. If you are someone who pretends to have psychic abilities to profit off of the vulnerable, you're a scumbag degenerate. Repent and live in obscurity. That's my statement on it. Zach, would you like to say anything about the situation or make an unrelated statement like I did?
I am just amazed at this whole thing. Number one, I can imagine. I can that Pokemon look like people. I could not have imagined certain Pokemon as because of what some of the items on their body or what their body is that you would think that is based on a human being. But at the same time, is this the guy that we're just looking for the listener? We're looking at
For the listener, I pulled up Kadabra.
Is this the guy that there's that video where he's trying to move the pages of a phone book, like with his hands? And he's like, "I can't do it because the static energy." And they're like, "Well, it's because you can't do your magic trick."
I don't know. I can't speak to if that is Uri Geller or not, and you will not make me say that is Uri Geller or not because I do not know and fear a lawsuit from this man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what a fascinating story. And yeah, I think there are certainly times where people can look like Pokemon. However, there are times where I think, no, that couldn't possibly be a person or based on a person. And I'll say this related to Kadabra. What I thought of was Ninja Turtles, and I see not Ninja Turtle, but the
yes, I know who you're talking about. He looks like
not Shredder, but the nice rat.
Oh my gosh! Yes, is Shredder not the good guy? Is
Shredder
the big bad guy?
Shredder's the bad guy, and he's got claws.
Oh,
and
no,
then
Zach,
Leo
I don't want to have
and
to pull this up.
Donatello, and they come back, and Donatello's like, "Oh, Master
Slither."
Oh man, that's getting close though. It's no, it's
all right. We're gonna see if we can get it before the end of the show. Splinter. What a great name! Also, very clearly a ripoff of Daredevil, who his trainer is Stick. So Splinter is kind of a play on that. Anyway, who cares? I don't care about you, Uri Geller. I'm not saying anything legal. I just don't care about you at all. You couldn't pay me to care about you.
Great.
Anyway, hope you don't sue me. Now it's time for the Pokeball decision.
Wow.
This is the segment of the show where Zach and I decide which Pokeball we would use on this Pokemon. Not we would use on
Yuri.
What would you use on Yuri? I'd flee.
I'd flee. For sure. Uh,
On Kadabra, though, would we use not based on rarity, but just how badly do we want it? A Pokeball, a Great Ball, an Ultra Ball, or a Master Ball? We do have the option to flee and throw a rock as well. Zach, where are you at here?
Easy peasy. Ultra Ball.
Ooh. Well, hey,
Uh,
you were saying that you might skip this one when we were talking about the second form. Why did
in
you
the
throw in an Ultra Ball
idea
here?
that I think I'm always aiming for that third form, right?
Mm.
That's the coolest one. I wish the Kadabra didn't have a tail. I've never liked it.
Okay.
But um I think I've always had him in my party. Because a lot of times I'm not trading and
Mm-hmm.
he's always been in my party. He's the strongest psychic that I would like get without like catching Mewtwo or something like that. And so Ultra Ball. If I see him out there, I'm like, baby, I'm gonna get you. I gotta get you. And there's only a couple Pokemon I'd possibly be saving that Master Ball for.
Yeah.
He would come on my top list
Oh,
of who
okay.
I'd have to have. I mean, obviously, who he evolves into would be better, and that's no offense to him. That's just what his makers made him to be.
Zach, when we hit 151, I'd love to hear that, like your top 10 from the original 151. So if I'd love to see if Kadabra makes it in that or not. For me, I'm going Great Ball. I do think there's room for improvement, but like I said, I like a lot about Kadabra, and we'll do more of the second form or skip segment. But just a kind of glance ahead, I think Kadabra is one of the good examples of a second form where it takes some steps, it changes a bit, it has some things unique to it, but it's also a clear evolution leading towards that final form. So
Yep.
Great Ball from me, Ultra Ball from you. Let's head into the power ranking. Zach, we are going to go through, this is our 15th episode of the show. We're not going to pull the list up. I'm not going to go through it in its entirety, but I am going to pull this up for the viewer. If you are a listener, you can find the list on our Instagram, on our Facebook, on our Twitter, all of our social media. We'd love to have that kind of always available for you to look at. But I'm going to pull up right now an example of the what am I saying? An example. I'm going to pull up the list here for me and Zach to look at when it comes to the strength of a Kadabra. Where do you think Kadabra should fall?
I mean, your little cursor keeps falling really low, but I'm saying definitely top. I mean, it's. I mean, if we're using types, so psychic type against a golem is not going to be great, but I'd put him above primate for sure, probably above Arbok. And
Arbok's going to come in. I think Arbok can wrap around this Kangaskhan or this Kadabra.
just bringing
I
Kangaskhan
sound
back.
like the Pokemon amateur right now. He could wrap
That's
around
true.
this Kadabra and squeeze the life out of him. I agree
Yeah,
with you that he's got Primate beat because Primate, all he's got is his fists, and Kadabra's got his brain.
yeah,
So I think he's got him beat there. But I do think that Arbok might have the step up on him with those poison fangs, with that great grip. I do think that he can kind of just outpower that Kadabra. If it was an Alakazam, sure, we got ourselves a
yeah,
battle. But Kadabra, I think Arbok has the upper hand.
yeah. I mean, I think if it's Alakazam, he's going up into tippy top
He he's
zone.
he's a contender for sure. What do you think? Are you okay
I
with
you know
that?
I'm okay with that. I'm
All
okay
right, so
putting him at 4.
So Kadabra is going in at number 4. I'm just going to read the top 5 real quick for our listener. Snorlax is still number 1. Koji Nishino all the way. Golem is number 2. We like that Alolan type. Arbok is number 3. He's a straight up murderer. Kadabra is number 4.
He's
He
a
is
straight up maybe used to be a boy.
straight up used to be a child. And Primeape, always furiously angry or always
Always.
ridiculously furious, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Wonderful list. I'd love to see it grow every single week for the next 16 years. Anyway, it's the end of our show. Zach, would you like to say anything in closing?
Um, I think that there may be true psychics in the world, and that might not be great. The ones that are actually real psychics, but most of them are like the TV show The Mentalist, or my favorite show growing up through high school into college. I feel like it ended. Psych, a show about a fake psychic. However intuitive that character was, they were fake, and they didn't sue people just because something was psychic or not. Also, I thought of the spoon holding kid in like Matrix 2, so I wonder if they got sued. Anyway,
The spoon holding kid said there is no spoon. And in this case, I'm going to say, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to get sued. I will say this. Here's one thing I will say. If I were to say something looks like me, if I were to be like, they stole my image, I wouldn't then also say, and they included Nazi image in it, because then that immediately makes me sound like,
yeah, that's where I thought you were
Nazi
going.
Stuff, I think it's me.
I know. When you read that, I was really like, is he saying he isn't? Okay, he's not, but okay.
All that to say, as always, the Pokemon Power Podcast would like to thank the Bulbapedia.bulbagarden.net. That's a bad impression. I shouldn't be doing that. Cerebi.org and Dr. Lava YT. If you'd like to learn more about Pokemon, those would be great resources for you. If you'd like to ask us a question about next week's Pokemon, submit a game, or just keep up with the podcast, you can find us on most social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pokepowpod. And to everyone out there, except for Yuri Geller, we choose you. Bye.
Every time. Bye. And don't sue us. Bye.